Hey guys, Jeffrey from Headstrong Training Systems here. So today we're going to be taking a look at the deadlift, and in particular we're going to examine how our head position, so our head positioning, whether it's looking forward, looking up or looking down, how that can affect our body and our torso positioning during the deadlift movement. So when we get right into it, when we're talking about our head position can be manipulated in terms of looking up, looking forward, or looking down throughout the entirety of the movement. It can be altered when you're in your bottom position here. You can be looking down, you can have your chin very tucked in, you can be looking more forward, more neutral, more up, or even complete upright. And hopefully you guys can see that just from me turning my head throughout the ranges, you can see that something has happened in my torso, especially in my upper back. You can see that as I move my head throughout the ranges, you can see that my upper back will also start to move as well, and that will also translate down into my lower back. So when we start from the bottom up, I've got a very tucked in chin, got my head looking down, my eyes looking completely down, you can see that my upper back right now is in a quite of a rounded position, and that is likely to translate into the bottom of my torso as well. And you can see that as I start to lift my head up, you can see that my torso, even subconsciously, as a result of me maneuvering my head unit, because as I lift my head up into more neutral, you see my torso start to flatten itself out, and you can see that if I look completely up, you can see that extension comes in as well. So you guys can hopefully see that just from simply maneuvering my head throughout the ranges, the effect that has on my torso. You see that looking more down, having more of a tucked chin, causes more rounding in the upper back. Looking forward puts me more into neutral, and looking completely up puts me into extension. So hopefully by acknowledging the effects of that head position, you guys can self-diagnose. So if you see yourself or a lifter that you're working with, you see that they're potentially too rounded in that bottom position, a potential fix might be getting them to lift their head up into a bit more neutrality, hopefully to give them a bit of extension, and vice versa. Or if you've got a lifter who's very extended in that bottom position, you can maybe get them to tuck their chin in a bit, get their head down, and hopefully that will help to neutralize their torso throughout those ranges. Now that concept also carries over through the entirety of the movement. You guys can see that it's not, whilst our bottom position, our starting position is very important in dictating how we travel throughout the ranges, it also has carryover into the actual performance of the deadlift itself. And what I mean by that is into the lockout, for example. Even if I'm in a lovely neutral position breaking off the floor, if I get to my knees, I'm trying to lock out, you see a lot of people, they like to turn their head up quick because their body will travel in the direction that their head is facing. And so they turn their head up to get that quick lockout, but then what ends up happening is they're throwing their chest up, you see that head comes up to lockout, that extension occurs in their back, that chest rises up, and yes, they might feel more stable, but they might get a more fast lockout, but it's an erratic lockout. You see that an extra divot point has been created in the back where this part of the vertebra will eat more stress, and you see that very common of a very chest up lockout. And the reason that's occurring is because you've changed your head position, which has then caused your torso position to change. And so now the lockout no longer is a hip thrust through, but rather you throwing your chest back and throwing your torso back. So just a quick video today. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.